Myself and my husband were watching a video yesterday about a young lady, and this lady got married at the age of 17. She lived with her foster mother for more than 10 years thereabouts, and by the age of 16 she was already living with a man that ended up marrying her few months after. And while we were watching that video, my husband paused the video and asked me, he said, "Did you know that under a different circumstance, if things were normal, we wouldn't have gotten married?" I paused. I thought about it and I'm like, yes, you're right. Because this particular lady, she was really young. In fact, she was a minor. She didn't know what she was doing. She just thought it was the right thing to do because of the circumstances that she found herself at that moment. Now, let me give you a backstory. She lived with her foster mom, and it was her foster mother that gave this so-called pastor her number, and they started discussing. She said that her parents had 12 of them. They live in the village, and of course you already know how it is going to be like financially for a father who has 12 children. So it was like, oh, thank goodness, hallelujah, we have somebody that can take care of this one out of the 12 for us. And I'm also guessing, according to her, not even guess, this is not a guess now, according to her, she said her other siblings are split in different places, being taken care of by different people. Also, when they asked her, she said when the guy came to collect lists, she was 16 years old. To collect lists from her parents, she was 16 years old. And elderly men, 50 years old men, 60 years old men, followed the man to come and collect lists to marry a 16 years old girl. On the other hand, the girl's parents too have families, elders, people who are older, who we believe that they should know what is right and wrong. They all sat down and agreed. There was no dissenting voice whatsoever that this girl is young. And I'm guessing because the man, who is 32 years old at the time she was 16-year-old, was like coming as the savior of the family if she marries this young girl. Now, fast forward to the part where he didn't even pay her bride price before marrying her. Now, that video really triggered me. And coming back to the question that my husband asked me, that did you know that if things were right, if things were the way they were supposed to be, if you were in the right frame of mind, in the better environment, with a much better circumstances, we wouldn't have gotten married at the time we did? And I agree completely. You see, I and my husband, we talk a lot. We talk about a lot of things. You cannot even imagine the things that we talk about. We are good friends, we are pals, and we can discuss anything. And I agree with him completely, because this lady's story just threw me back. And I had to go back into the reality that I had before I got married. As a young girl, there is no how you will not fall into temptation if you come from a poor family, from a poor background. Except if God himself decides to favor you, bring you out of that shame, that pain, that circumstance early. I don't blame people who marry for security, because if you have experienced hardship before, you will know that the next person coming along that is offering a little bit of peace, solution, security, comfort, finance is the only person that you just want to stick with for the rest of your life if the person chooses to marry you. Sometimes such girls even force themselves on those men, trying to offer them that, and I'm a good girl, do everything they can to ensure that those people keep them to themselves. Now, at that point, nobody is going to be thinking about, is this guy a mentally stable person? My husband also mentioned that if you know all the things that you know now, back then, yes, it's possible that we would have gotten married though, but it would have been another game entirely, meaning that you're not going to be coming from the angle you were coming to marry me, because obviously when we met, we were in love, we loved each other so deeply, we were friends for many years, but I was not really in a good place when I met him, and it was just like, okay, I found a man who was somewhat, of course, you know, you don't have everything figured out when you are meeting somebody. Even though you know them, you may know them, but you don't really know everything about them. So to me then, it was like I found somebody who was earning salary that could provide for me. At least he has a steady job, steady income, monthly income. I found somebody who could provide security, the security that I couldn't get for many years, because I was jumping from one place to another. I didn't have any stability. I can't remember how many places or houses or people that I lived with, but if I start to count, you'll be surprised. I'll leave that for another. This is not a deep insight into my own story. I'm just trying to let you understand why people do what they do, and why you cannot say, yes, you understand. No. When a child is coming from a very low background, so many things will go wrong, except if God just decides to change her story by giving her a good man. And that was my own story, because I found a man who was able to provide for me. I found a man who could give me shelter, who could make me comfortable, who could give me security, whom I liked. I liked the way we had conversations. I liked the way we had many things in common. But all of those things were just on the surface. Now, this does not mean that the people who marry for the same reason I married for did not go into wrong marriages, because people come at the time you need them the most, present the things that you need at those times, and going deep down, trying to dig deep, you don't have any leverage, because at that time it's like, are you ready to marry or not? I'm telling you I want to get married to you. I've shown you enough that I care about you. So what else are you looking for? So you don't have a leverage. You don't get mouths to even say, hey, there's something deeper that I'm looking at. You don't have the financial stability. Your parents did not provide everything you need for you financially to say, okay, you are stable. You don't actually need a man to complete you. You are complete on your own. You are just looking for a man who can help your vision, you know, for partnership, for companionship, for friendship. No. At that time, you're not thinking straight. I would say that I just got lucky that I married the man that God sent my way. I'll leave that aside. What I'm trying to say in essence is that don't blame people for the decisions that they make. You get why? Number 2, for parents who don't provide for their children, the risks are very high. If you are a parent watching this video, you have the opportunity now to expose your children to as many opportunities as you can. Because even you yourself, if you want to be fair and honest, some parents, some people that are parents now as we speak, they got into that relationship, that marriage, to seek comfort, to seek security, and to fill in those things that their parents did not provide for them. Now, it will be a big mistake for you to now do the same thing to your own children by not taking care of their basic needs. Because obviously, if everybody in the family of that girl come together to say, yes, a 16-year-old is ripe enough to get married, then I can imagine the depth of the poverty that runs in that family that will make them to make such decision. There was nobody that could even call her to say, are you sure? As long as she said, okay, yes, even though she was a minor at that time, she didn't even know what she was doing. Many people don't know what they are doing at that age. They just go with the flow, go with the feelings. So there was nobody that could say, okay, this is another perspective, this is another angle. Are you willing to try this? There was no option, there was no choice, there was nothing. So I do not blame her at all. She did what she did because she wanted to survive. She wanted to fill in a gap. So you wouldn't do the same to your own children. Provide for their basic needs. Now, the internet has made it really easy. Very easy for parents, everybody to see opportunities that can help their children both financially. People learn skills early. Expose them to as many skills as possible. As many skills as possible. They see, it is not about what you want for your children. Sometimes the thoughts you have for your children, the plans you have for them may not be what will work for them. And that is why they say it takes a village to raise a child. The fact that you have this plan A for your child, okay, I want my child to be this, I can provide this, I can do this, still does not mean that is what the child will end up doing for a living or choosing as a career. So it's better for you to leverage on other people's opportunities, other people's platforms, plus your own, and bring them to light. Put them on the path, give them options, give them choices. If A does not work, expose them to B. If B does not work, expose them to C up to Z. Yes. And that's one part. Now, to those parents that are privileged, the parents that are privileged, this is for you. You have money, you have the resources, you take your children to good schools, you take them on summer holiday, you provide all the basic things of life for them to the best of your capacity. This does not exempt you as well. You need to understand that the reason why you expose your children to different skills, many talents, options, choices, teach them, train them, nurture them, be there for them, is because there are predators out there. Apart from you buying all those things for them, giving them the best education, you also, parenting is a lot of work, I tell you. Nobody told me it's going to be this difficult, but the reality is it is. See, you need to also invest in their minds. There are predators out there who are looking for mommy's boy, daddy's girl, a boti, a jebota, a tush girl. They will mess up their minds. And that still does not mean that they will not end up in bad marriages because they have provided everything for them. Nothing you have to give your child is enough. Nothing. That's the sad reality. It's not enough. It is never enough because they have to outgrow you, go out into the world, meet other people raised by other parents that were raised by other parents, and so many mixed generations and different teachings, learnings, trainings everywhere. It is never ever enough. And that is why parents don't rest when they move from the pregnancy stage to giving birth to the child, to toddler, to the preschool, before you know teenager, before you know you have moved into marriage, before you know the child needs support, they start having their own children, and it's just like that. So you are not exempted. The fact that you have provided everything for your child does not mean he or she cannot make mistakes in friendship and also in his or her marriage. So it's not about, no, my child cannot be in that kind of situation. In Koto Shelenipe, what actually happened is that this one, our parents and were poor. His parents were poor. That's why she was able to fall a victim of this. Her parents were not able to provide her the education, the exposure he or she requires. That's why she fell into this. You are not exempted. There are preys, there are predators out there. Like, their own niche is people who are well trained, people who are privileged, who are exposed, and they strip them of everything you have taught them by toiling with their minds. We have people who are beautiful, handsome, they have everything when you see them. Like full package. When you see them normally, you call them madam, oga. But if you see the person that is controlling them and using them anyhow, manipulating them and treating them like trash, you will be surprised. That is the power of the mind. So nobody is free, nobody is safe. All you have to do is to expose them to as many teachings. See, we have a lot of coaches in different areas. Personally, what I do is I train, and that's why I came up with the Fabric Rebirth project. Instead of throwing away the pieces fabrics that we use when we make headwears for our customers, we store them, and we came up with a program whereby we can use these pieces of fabrics to teach these children how to make, headwears, hair accessories, anything that fabric can make, just bringing those off-cut fabrics to life, using them to create other things. There are other people who are coaches, mind coaches, life coaches, mental health coaches. Expose them to different areas, empower them, raise a complete child. I know it is not easy, but at the end of the day, they will make their own mistakes, but you would have done your part as a parent, and seek help. Seek help. If you're not doing something right, or you feel like things are not going the way you plan to be for your child, seek help, please, because it is damaging for you to pass through a phase in life that would almost want you to put other people through that kind of tragedy and pain. And I don't blame people who don't come out to share. This is the reason why I don't blame people who come out to share, because they are scarred so deeply, so badly, that even by the time they get to the end of the line, they don't feel any joy, they don't feel any fulfillment. I'm going to be sharing my own story as they come, because the healing process is long, because just like passing through a thick forest that has thorns. Some people call it shuku in this part of the world, in Nigeria, shuku everywhere. Imagine squeezing yourself through the forest of thorns. By the time you come out on the other side, you can't come out looking fresh and all clean. You would have been scarred everywhere, scarred. This one, that one, this one, that one. So I'm happy for this lady that she was able to pick the pieces of her life together. She went back to school. Currently, she's still schooling. And she now said she's the one bringing back her siblings. Her father is late now. She said she didn't want to go back to the village. She did everything she could. She did all sorts of unimaginable things to survive. You don't want to. Anyway, I'm happy for her that she's able to bounce back. She's still getting out of it, because while she was talking, she got emotional. She cried, and that's expected, because you don't heal completely. It's a process, because I myself am going through my own process, and the man that I married made the healing process bearable, and I just got lucky. The way I married him, so many people have married like that. So many people have married like that, and that was the beginning of their end. And when you see such people, don't start throwing stones, castigating them. Stop it. Focus on your own. If there's nothing you can do to help them, don't say nasty things. Stop throwing nasty words online because you have your phones and your keypad. By the time I start sharing my own story, I really need to share this story because it's part of the healing process. When you share, you're onboarding, other people learn from you. Yes, some people will throw shades at you. Some people will tell you, hey, you're stupid. If I'm the one, I would never have done it, blah, blah, blah. Yes. But never say never. You cannot know where the shoe pinches until you wear the shoe. You don't know how you would react, what you would do, what you would say in a particular situation because it has not happened to you. You don't know. So my joy is that she came out strong. She's still gradually picking the piece of her life together, and she's doing well so far. And for my own, I'm also picking the piece of my life together. I'm putting my things together, putting my shit together, like people will say. And I'm thanking God because it took a toll on me for many years, but I don't look like what I go through. And I'm happy. I actually turned the situation around and used it positively. I'm grateful for the strength. And I'm thankful for the good people that God sent to my way. I'm going to share more details later, but ultimately the whole aim of this video is that don't let any opportunity go by for you to empower your children physically, financially, emotionally, every way. Because don't think you are safe because you have money. Don't think you are safe because you're in a particular community. Your children will grow, outgrow you, and meet other people. And then we pray that God will constantly be with them. My name is Adiola, and thank you for watching. So far, I'll be dropping more videos, and I hope that you watch them as well. Bye.